Welcome to Sport Management 811, Sport and Society. My name is Mark Vermillion, and I'm the chair for the Department of Sport and Leadership Studies. I'm very excited to be teaching this class this particular semester. I'm really excited about our Sport Management graduate program. You know, one of the things that we really believe in is trying to develop leadership from a variety of different points of view. And I'm really excited about how you're going to be coming into either this class or into our program, and you're going to be trying to learn about the industry, maybe some adaptive or technical aspects of the industry. You're going to blend all those things with your personal experiences, and that's something that's really important to me. And it's something I've seen over the many years that I've been involved with this that really highlights the educational experience for students. In terms of educational experience, I've been really lucky to have been involved in a variety of different industries, both sport and non-sport, and that's really helped prepare me, I think, to be in this particular position. In our department, you can probably look at the name and start to extrapolate from that, but we have an undergraduate and then graduate degree in sport management, but we also have an undergraduate degree in organizational leadership and learning, and then a variety of different minors and certificates that are related to leadership, different aspects of sport, etc. And really that's kind of what this department is. It's a nice amalgamation of all these things. You can learn about concepts and ideas and social scientific approaches from outside the world of sport, but you can bring them into sport. And that's something I'm pretty excited and passionate about. In terms of a class philosophy, I think it's really important that I acknowledge and recognize that you all are working professionals. You have a lot going on. And so I try to take that into consideration when I develop courses, not just in terms of content, but also in terms of expectations and content and dissemination and those types of things. So for me, I try to approach things in a very commonsensical way. In terms of the class, we're going to do our work, and that's what we have the blackboard shell and all that kind of stuff. We're going to do things on time. And this isn't meant to sound bad or negative or aggressive or anything like that, but individuals are going to get out of this class and other classes whatever they put into them. And I think that's really important because each class is an opportunity to evolve and develop skill sets that are going to be important for you moving forward. Here's a little bit of kind of a 30,000-foot overview of the class in and of itself. It's an online course. It's 8 weeks long. We do not have any required meetings. Now, it is an online asynchronous course, but I'm happy to meet with you, whether that's on Teams or Zoom or phone call if you just want to chat via email, or if you happen to be in town and or on campus and want to swing by, I'm more than happy to chat in the office as well. Everything is posted on Blackboard, and we use Blackboard Ultra, and it's really important, I think, that I get everything posted so you have it ahead of time. The entire course is up there, so you can see everything that you have to do from the very beginning to the very end of the course. This way, you have the opportunity to maximize your personal and professional time. If you would like to work ahead in the class, you are more than welcome. Everything is there. There's no adaptive release or anything like that. Now, there are due dates throughout the class, but you are more than welcome to work ahead. The class consists of kind of three major buckets, if you will. One is there's a syllabus, but there's also a required syllabus quiz. So just make sure that you understand expectations for the course and all that kind of stuff. Then we have 3 course modules, and the course modules are going to have content, some notes, an assignment, which is basically an application project, and then a small quiz. And then we have a final project, very similar to the assignments. It's really going to be focused on application. We want you to walk out of here knowing that these amorphous conceptual ideas are great, but they live beyond a PowerPoint slide. They live beyond the realm of a book. They can be applied in everyday professional life. It's also important to me with the rising cost of higher education that you all know that there is no required textbook or readings to be purchased in this particular class. Okay? Everything is going to be provided to you. There are no additional costs in that regard. Within each module, as I said before, I try to structure every module in more or less the exact same way. All right, so you have the notes. Now, the notes are, I create them in Google Slides, but then I download them into PowerPoint for posting on the course Blackboard shell. Any readings, whether they're recommended or required, are going to be hyperlinked within those PowerPoint slides. So again, you don't have to go anywhere else. All that information is located within the PowerPoint presentations. I try to write these PowerPoints as it's our miniature textbook, okay? So I try to provide some detail and things like that. When it's a bit of a misnomer, at least the way that I'm doing them. They're not PowerPoints necessarily. I try to write in complete sentences and express complete thoughts and things like that. But the point here is that the notes are going to be the structured form of information that we have in the class. What do I mean by that? That's what your small quizzes are going to be taken directly from, are the notes, the PowerPoint slides for that particular module. The quizzes are not very long, roughly around 10 questions. Multiple choice, now true, false occasionally, because that is technically a multiple choice, but really the quizzes focus on understanding core concepts and potentially applying the core concepts to particular content in the industry and things like that. They're not meant to be a gotcha game. I'm not trying to trip someone up and try to fail anyone. No, we're all too busy for that kind of stuff. They're just to make sure that I can measure and gauge where you all are in terms of understanding the content. The quizzes will be taken on Blackboard. Like I said, there's not very many of them. There's usually less than 10. But I set aside 60 minutes. If you need additional accommodations or time for that, feel free to work with me individually, and we'll make sure that those accommodations are addressed. I like to do these things on Blackboard. One, it's an online class, it just makes sense. Two, once you submit it, then you automatically get the graded feedback. You get to see exactly what your grade is at that time. Finally, each module has an assignment, and this is really going to be an opportunity for you to apply something. Extending this whole idea of application, the final project for the class is really participant observation using kind of a case study methodology. What do I mean by that? Well, people talk a lot about organizational culture. Well, organizational culture can be measured, it can be understood, it can be identified, and that's kind of what you're going to be doing in this particular final project. You're going to be working with the concept of organizational culture, and it's an opportunity for you to not only start thinking about how to understand organizational culture for the sake of the project, but also how to understand organizational culture as you grow and develop as a leader. Again, we're going to always keep going back to leadership and developing and evolving leadership. Just wanted to take a brief moment here to just kind of talk about a few things. I think it's interesting within this class, I feel that our job is to understand sports, the individual activities. We want to try to understand the sport industry, right? All the different organizations and aspects of sport and physical activity. But then we also want to understand the very individualistic experiences, these very personal experiences with sport. And we want to understand all these things on an in-depth level. Okay. I also think it's important to really call out that we talk about critical thinking, and it's hugely important in the skill set or in the repertoire of the leader, right? Well, critical does not mean being negative towards something. Yes, it involves asking questions and really about trying to look below the surface. It's about digging deeper and realizing what are some of the unseen, unidentified dynamics at play in whatever the situation is. Now, my job as the instructor of this class, I'm very excited and very passionate about this stuff, but my job's not to tell you how to think or how to behave, how to lead yourself or how to lead others or how to even lead groups. My job is to provide you with information. And I try to curate that information based upon industry and discipline best practices And I try to curate that information and make it accessible to you so that you can choose to incorporate or not incorporate it into your worldview. Again, from my point of view, it's leadership is really about us learning as much as is possible, right? And being able to learn about how people engage with each other, how they engage with organizations, how they engage with society, and these amorphous ideas of culture. All this stuff is really important, and we know that it impacts how work is done every single day in a sport organizational setting. Well, that's critical thinking. And critical thinking is a process, in my view, that is crucial to leadership. And this class is an outgrowth of that. It's what we call an awareness raising class. When you're dealing with people and understanding people and trying to sharpen those critical thinking skills, this class provides the opportunity to learn those concepts, operationalize those concepts, and then how can we potentially apply those concepts in a way that is professional. Okay? Another thing that I think is really important, and it's unique to the sport management or the sport-centric courses that I teach, is that sport as an institution is very complicated, right? And then on the other hand, we know that people are exceedingly complicated in all their nuances and things like that. Well, that means any question that is asked that's going to involve sport and people is probably going to be really complicated. And that means that the answer, at the very least, probably needs to be very nuanced, right? It's not going to be a simplistic answer for a very complicated question. And I think what's interesting here, the relationship of these two complicated factors, people and then sport, the intersection of those two is where you all, if you're going to be in part of the sport management industry, are plying your trade. And that means you're going to be at this intersection, at the nexus of all these complicated things. And really what I'm just trying to do is just provide you a little bit more information that can address some of these very complicated and ever-evolving situations. I encourage you to push yourself, to think deeply, and to try to connect some of these ideas to your own personal leadership development. Now, why do I encourage you to do that? Because in my view, and what I've seen over the years, 100% of the students that have come through our figurative and literal doors will be in personal professional positions where they're going to be leading others and potentially, most likely, leading themselves. So the more you know about people, the more you know about the world around us and at large, and then the more you know about your organization, then the better prepared you will be to lead everyone, including yourself, effectively. That's what we're trying to do. That's what when I sit down and try to prepare courses and try to think of applied learning experiences and application of these concepts, this is what drives me and this is what's in the back of my mind. So all we have left now is to get to work. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me directly and I will do whatever I can to assist. I hope you have a wonderful semester and I look forward to working with you all moving forward.